Good morning, Micah 7:7. Today is day 5, and we're going to talk about Write It Down. I've really enjoyed this book, Draw the Circle. It is powerful, it is faith building, and I know that God is going to use it to increase our faith and believe Him for answered prayers. It's so full of great stories. Well, today he takes his text from Habakkuk 2:2, and it says, "And the Lord answered and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables." Mark Batterson is talking about in this chapter the importance of journaling prayers, journaling answers to prayers, journaling what God has done in your life. And I remember many years ago, I was introduced to journaling by a young preacher. He was younger than me, just new in the ministry, and we actually had him over to our house one night. He was actually just a young kid, okay? I'm just going to get down to it. And he spent the night with me and my husband, and the next morning, of course, I always make a big breakfast for those that spend the night. And he was telling us about simple concepts that helped him to really and clearly hear the voice of God. And so he introduced me to the power of journaling. And from that moment on, and that's been, I bet it's been 25 years ago or more, I have started some kind of a journal over the years and have written down scriptures that the Lord gives me every day, things that speak to my heart, prayers that I prayed, specific prayers that I've written down. And I just feel like that's a part of my morning discipline, and probably many of you have done that too. If you've never been introduced to journaling, I encourage you, go out and buy a journal. Now, this one was given to me by a special friend, and it says, "And to think some of life's best stories haven't even begun." Journaling is your story. It is your spiritual journey. It's your spiritual diary. It's what God speaks into your life. It's what you are praying for. Mark Batterson has a wonderful saying that he tells his staff regularly. It says, "The shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory." And this is why he keeps a prayer journal. Journaling is one of the most overlooked and undervalued spiritual disciplines. In his estimation, it's right up there with prayer and fasting and meditating on the Lord. It's the way we document what God is doing in our lives. Why do we need to journal? Because we have a tendency to forget. And let me tell you, it's interesting to me that Satan will remind us of past sins, of offenses. He'll remind us of struggles. Most important thing he wants to do is take out of our memory those wonderful experiences in God, that Rhema word from God that He spoke to you in His Word one morning. When you got up and you were praying a prayer, you opened that Word and it came alive to you. He wants to take that from your memory. He wants to give you spiritual amnesia about the good things of God. But when we begin to journal, when we begin to write these things down, then we are reminding ourselves of the power of what God is doing in our life and what He has done and what He's going to do. I encourage you to read the story of Kimberly in today's devotional in the book. It is so extremely faith-building to see that God can take a young girl, a girl whose grandmother had only an 8th grade education because she left school to help out on a farm. And she was told, all you'll ever do is milk cows. And now her granddaughter is working at the White House. It's a great story. It is an incredible opportunity for us to see the power of what God can do with our prayers. Another aspect of journaling is remembering that God told the children of Israel to write things down, to keep a document there, to tell the stories over and over and over so that they would not forget the wonderful works of God. I remember when the Lord spoke to me as a young mother to begin to keep a miracle journal for our family. So I got a 3-ring binder, filled it up with paper, and wrote as the Lord worked in our lives as just experiences and answers to prayer that He put in there. I wish I could say that I captured all of them, but somehow it's easy to put the journal up and not keep it out. But I challenge all of us to find a beautiful prayer journal for our families. Lay it out on a coffee table or a prominent place in your home and begin to write down prayer requests that you are making to God as a family. And then as He answers, begin writing the answers in. Tell your story so that your story can be passed down to your children and their children and their children's children. Who knows, over time you might have an entire book that needs to be published. It's important to write down and to remember what God's done in our lives. It's so easy to forget, as I mentioned before. And when we write them down, we can go back and see these things. I wonder what would have happened if David would not have written, if David's Psalms were not available to us today. I wonder if he would have sung these beautiful songs or written these beautiful songs and no one recorded them. If they were just a missing book in the Bible. Yes, I agree. It's important to journal what God gives us. God has a word and He is speaking to us every day. It's time to start writing it down. Well, thank you for watching today, and I hope that your day is blessed. Go out and get a good prayer journal. If you've lost the habit, start it again. It's worth it. And if you've been doing this for a while and maybe you're a little discouraged, I encourage you to go to your journal library and begin to read the incredible things that God has already done in your life. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless.